First things first, guys, let's talk about this bad boy here. Yes, people, what's good and welcome back to the channel, guys. So, guys, it's been a while since I last updated you about what's going on with the TMC Reef at 60. So, not a lot going on, guys. Just a couple of things I'm having issues with at the moment. A couple of new corals and a couple of corals that I have moved around the aquascape just before the new year. So, first things first, guys, let's talk about this bad boy here. So, this coral for the last 3 weeks was being touched or assaulted by a pink shortcake coral that I had in the middle here that grew way too big. Now, it was my intention to remove it, and I did, but I forgot to glue it, and it was just touching this coral. So there was lack of flow in this area as well, and yeah, it was my bad. So this coral has been stung to death, and yeah, it's receded a little bit, and it looks like it's settled, and will, hopefully recover and grow or do its thing. Coraline will take over where the white bits are, but I hate to see white bits, but it's my fault for doing that, guys. Okay, so the coral that it was being stung by didn't make it. Yeah, so it was beef going on. Yeah, and one person got murked basically. So my friend Darren said, "Oi, bro, look, I got this for you." Came over, hooked me up, and sorted me out for another piece of coral here. So thank you, Darren. Love you, bro. Thanks for looking at as well. Now, the aquascape itself is doing quite nicely. I'm running a little experiment with two pieces of coral that I want to see what the results would be like in with color, right? So I'm checking on is it PacMan, Mr. PacMan, which is this coral here. Now, let me just rotate around the scape so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So this coral here, Mr. PacMan, I kept one piece on top of the scape, and it's growing like a lot, guys. So it just proves that, yeah, this coral is supposed to be a smooth skin, maybe lower light coral. It will do well once you have your par readings and flow and everything else on point. So that can be done. Now I've got this other piece lower here, and it's under low light, and you can see it's a bit darker. So I want to see over the next couple of months, maybe halfway next year, to see what this one will look like. Okay, now there was a piece on this side, or this spot here. I decided to move it on top here because I had a millipora that just was not doing nicely, wasn't doing well at all. So I just didn't like it. So when I looked at the coral itself, the coral wasn't receiving any flow, and yeah, it basically was dead. It was dead basically. So I decided to just get rid, unfortunately, because we do lose things in this hobby, shame, and place another massive or big enough colony that I had in that spot. Now I've used some putty and glue to basically build a base for it, to elevate it so it can get all around flow, which is what I wanted, for this coral as well. So that's what's been going on with the coral in the system. Now another thing that's been going on with the system, this coral here, yeah, has always, for some unknown reason, found itself as the centerpiece, or back in the center of the tank. I've tried to put it at the back side, it just finds itself there. So I'm just going to leave it there. It can be the centerpiece from now on. It's not a bad coral. It's got like two different like yellows and greens on it. It's cool. I thought this was going to be my centerpiece, but this coral, when the lights come on and the flow comes on, it gets so fluffy that the flow can be sometimes too strong for it. Now the pumps are on 50% on random flow and reef crest, and it's still getting too much flow. So I'm trying to move it around and put it in somewhere that's protected, like a little cove, so it's not blown around too much, but it's doing okay for now. These two corals have been moved. The torch coral used to be where the acan, or Lord Micromusa, used to be. So I realized the torch would have stung it, so I've just rotated them around so that the torch can do its thing in the corner and can be protected by the clownfish, which sometimes go into the coral. Coral's fine, yeah, chill, everything's good. So currently my alkalinity still sits between 8 and 8.4, 8.5. Yeah, try to keep it within that range. Calcium is around, I'll say 440 to about 460 odd. Yeah, try to keep it round there. I don't go up to 500, don't go up down to 400. I just try to keep it there as best as I can. Now, with my water changes, yeah, I do conduct water changes on this system. I've made a decision. I'm only doing 10 liters every time I water change. That's it. Maintain stability. My PO4 has been taken care of by the Royal Foss. All my mine and trace elements have been monitored by ICP every two months. Just check on things. So there's no need for me to do a massive water change. If there's an emergency and my ICP tells me I need to do several water changes, yeah, I'll just break it down. But guys, just fine tune the way you reef. Don't do things hastily. Don't do things in like a big movement, if that makes sense. Do break it down. For example, if it says to me that my vanadium's too high and it recommends 4 water changes, I'll say, okay, let me try and do that in 6 and just do it slowly so it doesn't shock the system, which is very, very important. Now this clam is doing well. In fact, it's doing great because it's growing. It's always coming out. The colors are absolutely beautiful on this clam, and yeah, it's doing well for this system. And I always wanted a clam. Finally got a clam. So yeah, the next thing I'm going to talk about, guys, is dosing. So I do recommend to anyone, yeah, look into dosing trace elements if you're running SPS. Yes, water changes can help with replacing your minor trace elements like your iodine and boron and not magnesium, manganese, but it's very essential to keep those at a level where the corals have access to them. Now, I never dose my trace elements during the day. I usually dose at night because that's when the corals feed. That's when they take up everything else in the system to kind of like build their skeleton and grow. So it's very important for me to dose during the night. Even with my what you call it, if I'm feeding the corals, definitely nighttime. If I'm doing like a reef kind of sprinkle for the system, it'll be at night because that's when it's going to get utilized by every single organism in the tank. Just be careful that you're not overdoing it and this doesn't affect your nutrients. Yeah, guys, so that's what's going on with the system now. Moving some corals around, giving it some time so they can encrust, they can settle in, all that mucus can go away because they're not happy. Let that settle as well. I'm going to keep you guys updated as what's going on with this coral here. This coral is a very OG coral. I've had this coral from my last M60, my Fluval, who's been with me for quite a while. But everything else, guys, yeah, he's doing fine. He's doing really nicely. Yeah, flow is on point. Lighting, yeah, is doing really well. Trident's working a treat. Dawson Oceamo, wicked product, easy to use, guys. If you guys have any comments, any questions, any things you suggest I should do with this system, let me know below, guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.